Over the years, Meat Boy has been a lot of things. A hero, a father, a skeleton, an indie icon. But the one thing that never changes about Meat Boy is that he is meat. It's in the name, and when you say that name, you incur the wrath of the one, the only... This is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA for short, a non-profit organization claimed to be fighting against the exploitation of animals. Why do I say claimed? Well, long story short, they're going to hell. There's a lot of valid reasons why people dunk on this group, but one of their more notable talking points has fallen from public discussion in recent years, and that is their browser games. While they've mostly stuck to original titles the past decade, PETA's bread and butter from the mid-2000s to early 2010s was making parodies of other video games. If Mario wears a Tanuki suit, PETA believes he skinned the animal himself. If Cooking Mama makes your favorite chicken dinner, PETA believes that she butchered the chicken herself. You say Pokemon is about bonding with these magical creatures and training them to reach their full potential? Wrong! It's about slavery and fast food chains! And if your game's name has the word meat and contains the sheer concept of a living being made out of meat, PETA will cook up a healthy, vegan alternative for you. This is Super Tofu Boy. It was released on December 1st, 2010, just 2 months after the release of its inspiration, Super Meat Boy. It stars Tofu Boy, a heroic, athletic, and all-around swell guy who serves as a vegan version of Meat Boy. There's just one problem. Meat Boy isn't animal meat. He's consistently described as a boy without skin, or a skinless human, in a game where humans are stylistically cuboid. That's why his girlfriend is Bandage Girl. He's a living wound, and she's meant to keep him safe. They physically need each other. That is the story. But for PETA to recognize this requires them to have any reading comprehension. So actually, Bandage Girl dumped that chud, and now she's Tofu Boy's girlfriend, and Meat Boy kidnapped her out of jealousy. Despite the logo and Team Tofu label being nods to the final game, Super Tofu Boy is more so based on the Flash prototype from 2008. Identical interface, vertical levels, the works. Now, even though I'd consider myself an expert on Super Meat Boy, this is actually my first time playing this. Not only that, but I'm doing it on the original website, which is somehow still up even after the internet's mass elimination of browser games. That means this is how the game is meant to be played. It's terrible. I could just imagine the thought process here. See, Meat Boy is kinda fast, so let's make Tofu Boy even faster to show how much better for you tofu is than meat. That'll surely complement these vertical corridors with instant death traps. What I'm getting at is that these controls suck, and they don't complement the level design, which is the polar opposite of what made Super Meat Boy special. There's a few level themes and some bandages to collect, but genuinely, who gives a shit? Also, fun fact, the current version of the game on the PETA website seems to have an uncapped frame rate, and since the game's logic is based on said frame rate, the game initially ran at double speed on my 120Hz monitor. So it wasn't just bad, but genuinely unplayable at first until I went down to 60Hz, so that was fun. Don't waste your time with this game, it sucks. As soon as Super Tofu Boy went up, word spread, and Edmund McMillan made a response on the old Team Meat website promising a witty comeback to PETA. 1 week later, that promise was fulfilled as Tofu Boy was added as a playable character to the PC version of Super Meat Boy. Since he was added post-launch, he doesn't have any normal unlock criteria. Instead, you need to enter a secret code to play as him. On the character select, enter PETAPHILE. You can word that out if you want, but I'm not gonna. Once you hear,
push the buttons!
Select a character and you'll be Tofu Boy. And instead of faithfully translating his immense athleticism, they made him the worst character in the game. Due to an
iron deficiency,
Tofu Boy can't run, walks very slowly, and has a pitiful jump. This makes his life extremely hard. In fact, he can't beat a vast majority of the game's levels without game-breaking bugs. And just like that, he became official. Now, if you thought PETA received public attention for Super Tofu Boy, then Team Meat received significantly more notoriety for the response and comeback. And of course, this Tofu Boy became a lot more popular than PETA's version. Helps that he was in a good game this time. And it was that popularity that made him a shoo-in for the next game in the series. Super Meat Boy Forever was the first game in the series to make Tofu Boy a properly unlockable character in the base game. but you wouldn't know it at first. While Forever kept its unlockables close to its chest before release, Tofu Boy in particular felt the most secret. He's the only character with a secondary unlock criteria that isn't shown on the character select, giving you no hint as to who he could be. To unlock Tofu Boy, you need 60 pacifiers, meaning you have to start New Game Plus at least once. Once you've collected the 60 needed, enter any level and your player character can be replaced by Tofu Boy. You then have to beat the level to unlock him, which will prove to be a challenge because Tofu Boy. Due to this game's procedural nature, this will be harder or easier depending on your seed, but the first level should be possible 99% of the time. Anyways, Tofu Boy is the only character in Forever that plays differently, but he's also a little different than his appearance in the first game. He starts off at a decent speed, but his movement and jumps gradually get weaker until he eventually runs out of energy and stops moving. He'll rest for a few seconds, then continue at his max speed. You can also replenish his energy by hanging out at a wall long enough. And that's all I have to say about Tofu Boy in Forever. There isn't really any cool history about his appearance here, he's just there. Okay, let's move on to the next game. In stark contrast to how he was handled in Forever, Tofu Boy was the first unlockable character revealed for Super Meat Boy 3D. That means Sluggerfly and Head Up were using him to sell the game, in a way. Regardless, he's here, and he's arguably the hardest character to unlock in the whole game. To do so, you need to beat every level in Visceraville's Dark World. These are some of the hardest challenges in the game, so Sluggerfly made sure that you'd get the best possible reward for doing it all. Tofu Boy is actually slightly more capable here than in previous games. Obviously, he's still very slow, but he doesn't have the worst wall run in the game. That honor goes to Cheese Boy. Plus, the dash and bunny hop trick can give him almost half respectable speed. However, the levels in 3D are generally lengthier to accommodate for these new skills, so you still aren't going to beat a lot of levels as Tofu Boy, though he actually can do most of the forest if you have enough patience. Also, he can't do the ground slam for some reason. Maybe his ass isn't strong enough? And that's Tofu Boy's entire history in and out of Super Meat Boy, besides his little cameo in Isaac if you get SMB's Superfan as keeper. With all that out of the way, only one question remains. All things considered, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to ask why Tofu Boy exists in the first place. Think about it. PETA's other parody games are based on significantly more popular titles. Mario and Pokemon are household names, and even Cooking Mama was popular on the DS at the time. Why would they bother making a parody of an indie game made by two people? Well, Super Meat Boy actually got their attention through the forums on the old PETA website. These forums no longer exist and don't seem to be archived anywhere, so this recreation will have to do. Sometime around Super Meat Boy's release, someone posted in these forums about the game, suggesting it promoted animal slaughter and meat consumption. Word spread across PETA and their forums thanks to this person, leading to the creation of Super Tofu Boy. This person was Edmund McMillan. Yes, Meat Boy's own creator posted anonymously in PETA's forums, goading them into creating Tofu Boy. He then stole Tofu Boy for his own game, where he became iconic for being absolutely terrible. Fucking legend. Look, I don't know, man. Tofu Boy's just funny. I always planned to go into detail about this guy, but it was PETA's recent response to Mugenics that reminded me, and probably many others, of Edmund McMillan's previous interaction with them. I think that's what really ignited the drive to make this video. So, thank you, PETA. But also, screw you. That's it for today. Thank you so much for 500 subscribers, and I'll see you next time.